What's going on, guys? I'm Alexander Don, and in this video I'm gonna take you behind the scenes on a music video that I shot with Sony Fx6 and Sony A7sIII. It is pretty interesting. We're gonna go through a lot of camera techniques, a lot of lighting techniques, and I'm also gonna give you some advice regarding on what to do and what not to do whenever you shoot a music video. Also, it is pretty interesting because we didn't have a script. We only had a few locations, and we kind of had a lot of fun in terms of lighting. So watch the video, enjoy it, and then we're gonna go directly into behind the scenes and tell you more.
Mergând pe străzi pustii, crezând că tu mă știi, ești tu sufletul și dragostea. Cum cade lacrima, nu o pot controla, de tine nu pot uita. Indecis erai, haide du-mă înai, să nu uiți că doar tu poți să schimbi visele, dar chiar și roțile, tu iubind ai tot ce vrei. Para, 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 para. Para, 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 para. Mergând pe străzi pustii, crezând că tu mă știi, ești tu sufletul și dragostea. Zâmbet pe fața ta, nu îl poți controla, doar tu poți schimba ceva. E deja-i să ai zilele în rai, să nu uiți că doar tu poți să schimbi visele, dar chiar și nopțile, tu iubind ai tot ce vrei. Ești aproape, ești departe, timpul parcă bate noapte. Totul e atemporal, gânduri, vorbe nu mai am. Crede și-ai să ai zilele în rai, să nu uiți că doar tu poți să schimbi visele, dar chiar și nopțile, tu iubind ai tot ce vrei. Para, 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 para. Para, 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 para.
So guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video and the images, because the song is in my native language, so I'm not sure if you could understand something, but the song sounds nice and I hope you enjoyed it. What I want to say is that if you guys are used to the channel, you know that we usually start up with cameras and lenses and accessories and all that. So I'm gonna start up with the cameras I used and why I used two cameras. Well, I have this setup lately and I think it's really smart because it makes me want to work faster. So what I do is basically I have a Sony Fx6 that I use handheld, and then I have a Sony A7sIII with an autofocus lens on it that I put on a gimbal, and therefore I don't have to struggle with getting my camera off the gimbal, putting my camera again, and doing all this thing that actually makes you lose time. So I'm trying to be as efficient as possible because all of the video that you've seen was shot in just a few hours. And this means that if I manage to shoot so much in just a few hours, it means that I'm doing a really good job at being productive and being fast. And lately, being fast is one of the things that it's very important, because filmmaking tends to have a tendency towards fast content. So if you're able to work fast, you're going to be able to make more money. More projects done in a shorter time means more money. So this is why I invested in making this setup so smart. So let me show you a few shots with my camera. So I have the Sony Fx6 as a handheld camera with the DZO Despit primes, which are full frame primes, which are amazing, guys. The image that you get out of them is super soft yet crispy, and the bokeh is also very soft, so it looks very beautiful. Paired with the Sony Fx6, they look amazing. Although Sony Fx6 is a pretty sharp camera, so whenever you put softer glass in front of it, it looks beautiful. So yeah, I have on top my trusted monitor that I always use. It's an Atomos Shinobi. It's not with internal recording or anything like that. And I don't like to have things that complicate my workflow. I like to shoot internally. I don't need RAW. I don't need things that make my workflow feel heavier. So that's why I don't use external recording. And I think the internal codec of the FX6 is amazing by default. So pretty simple setup. I don't have other accessories rather than my monitor mount, which is a small rig, and it is a swivel mount that goes into the smart shoe of the camera, so I don't have to put different accessories on the FX6. Again, I'm trying to be as light as possible, and I don't want to like take my camera off every time I go to another location, and that's why I try to be as practical as possible. So speed is key nowadays, guys. And for the gimbal, I don't use external monitors. I don't use anything like that. I just put my camera, I look through that monitor. The autofocus on the Sony A7S III is absolutely mind-blowing. So I don't have to stress about keeping the shots in focus or anything like that. So the setup is pretty simple. Moving on to one of my favorite parts, and that is lighting. So whenever I like to go on set, one of the things that I love the most is lighting. And I think this is one of the most important things whenever you shoot, because this defines your quality. You can have a Red, you can have an Alexa, you can have all the best cameras in the world and still not get good image because your skills lack when it comes to putting lights and working with lights. So that's why every time I go on set, I try to force myself to work with lights so I can increase my skills whenever it comes to lighting. So I used a top light for this because one of the shots that we started was on this bedroom location. So we used a Mix Panel 150 from Nanlite. It is a great light. It is amazing. You can change its white balance. You can change its colors. It has tons of effects. And I also had a Mix Panel 60, which is the smaller version of it, with a softbox and a grid on top. And the reason I put the light on top, it is because I wanted to avoid seeing the lights in the shots, because I knew that I'm gonna move with the camera a lot. I knew that I'm gonna be on a gimbal, and when you have top light, it actually gives you more creative freedom because you don't have to avoid seeing the light in your frame. I also put the light from the top because I had like a really small lamp there that when you see the full shot, I had a small lamp that I kind of wanted to feel for the viewer that the light comes from that lamp. So I wanted to motivate my lighting. The reason I chose to put blue in the shots, it is because color blue in cinematography mimics the moonlight. Usually sometimes when I put blue, I want to undersaturate it a little bit so it looks more cinematic. So the reason I'm putting blue is just because I know that I'm gonna undersaturate it a little bit in post-production and it will look a little bit like moonlight. Also, you have to keep in mind, whenever you're lighting, darkness isn't darkness in cinematography. Whenever you want darkness, you have to light for darkness. And that's why we're choosing blue. Blue is a dimmed down color. It fills up the shadows a little bit. You still have information there for grading, and that's why I'm using this. Also, I feel like this review is gonna be the longest one so far. I wanted to experiment a little bit with the Forza 60B. This is one of my favorite lights, and you're gonna understand why. I wanted to have a feeling that it's like kind of raining outside and we have thunder and all that, but I soon realized that it doesn't really work with the music and what she was singing. And therefore I ditched that idea. And what we did is actually we had our lighting set up. After that, we were ready to shoot whatever we wanted. We were ready to shoot the song. So what I did is basically I played the song and I recorded with the artist like a couple of times. And this is one of the mistakes I've done with this music video. I relied on having a lot of plays, like a lot of parts where the singer is singing and not enough parts with slow motion, with reactions, with some directing with her and him and all that. So I feel like I focused myself on filming her singing, and I should have focused less on her singing and more on making slow motion shots and making beauty shots, like I would call them. First shot is not so present in the music video because it was my first time meeting the girl. It was my first time working with her, so I didn't feel that she was very comfortable in the first shot. So whenever you have a music video, try to plan it in a way that you're not using your like you're making your first shot as a beta. You're not putting all your effort into the first shot because you're might not gonna use it, in my case. So the lighting was super good, everything was nice, but we didn't use that much from the first part because I didn't feel that she was comfortable enough. So moving on, I also did a few shots, beauty shots with her holding the guy in her hand and all that. Again, going really slow with the gimbal, really slow with the handheld part and all that. So I think we shot a lot of things in the first part that I didn't use, so this was one of my mistakes. I mean, I wouldn't call it mistakes, but it is something that you learn from experience, and definitely music videos are not my strong key. I usually shoot commercials that have a really different type of shooting perspective. So I'm used to like shooting 3 seconds and that's it. This one you have to shoot like for 2 minutes. For me, that is way too much. So moving on to the second scene, and what you see here is something similar but different. So you can see here how I worked with colors. I still have the blue, but I introduced red, and I also changed the color from the pavo tube that it's in the TV. I forgot to say that in the first part, but in the TV we have a small pavo tube that it's awesome. Those small little lights, you can put them anywhere and they look cool. So we put it into the TV. And we started off shooting her in the same outfit, but then we realized we should change the outfit because we should have a different outfit. So soon after, she changed the outfit with something black. So 2 shots were ruined because we didn't like the outfit, but we kept on going. We changed a little bit her position in the lighting stayed the same, because when you do great lighting, you kind of don't have to modify a lot because it looks good from different angles. And when you do lighting that it's not visible in front of your character and you have to like make sure you're not catching the light in front of your camera and all that, it kind of blocks your creative. So whenever I light, I try to light as if I'm gonna shoot 20 shots there, not only one. So this is something that I do because I like to work fast. It's not something that it's perfect, because sometimes on bigger commercial you kind of want to have one shot that looks like 20 shots, like a really good one. Moving on, I realized that I kind of have to change something, because I was putting the actress or the artist into some pretty basic positions. She was kind of not doing something really creative with her body. So I thought to myself, what if I lay her on the ground near the TV? And to be honest, it was one of the best ideas I had, because I kind of saw something that I really loved. This is actually one of my favorite shots from the music video, where she lays down and starts singing, and I feel that that part is really something else. It looks like a scene from a really big music video. I mean, that's what it gives me. It's something else. You don't see it every day. And therefore, I think like one of my favorite shots from these music videos are from that part where the TV is in her right part and she sings and all that. And I feel it gives some kind of emotion to me, that it's something different. I don't know, maybe you guys felt the same. Hit me up in the comments if you did, or anything like that. But again, gimbal shots, autofocus with the Sony A7S III, it's crazy. You can be so creative. Like, I didn't get this autofocus thing until I used it. Usually with the gimbals, you kind of have to focus your mind to making sure the shot's in focus, making sure I don't know, making sure that the composition is right, making sure that your movement is right. So there are a lot of things that you have to focus on. And when you're shooting with this A7S III with autofocus on and with the active stabilization on, your mind sets free and you're able to create without any other things that you have to think about. So top-down autofocus system on the Sony, really good, especially with the 16-35. That's the lens that I used on this music video, and I think it looks really good. So moving on, we actually had like a creative exercise. So we relied on good weather that day, but it rained the whole day. So because of that, we had to improvise with what we had. So since we were at this cool location, I changed the set in a way that looked something different, and I changed completely the lighting. And this is where the power of lighting comes. If you're able to transform a room that looks simple with lighting, then you know how to light. For example, we just changed a little bit things and put the lights different. We still have the Forza light, we still have the mix, oh my god, so many names. We still have the mix panel 60 with the softbox and everything as our key light, but in the back I have my Forza 60B with the projector lens on top, making this beautiful light coming through the window, that it's motivated by the haze that we put and all that, and looks so good. Again, looks like a proper music video that you see on big artists. Again, shooting wide, tight, getting all the shots that I need. Whenever I shoot handheld, I like to hold my own focus, again, because we shot with a cinema glass. But if I had like a 24-70 on that day, I would have used that instead, because we were relying on speed. One thing that I realized is that I shot way too much. For this music video, I had like 18 tracks of plays without the slow motion parts and everything like that. So I recorded her singing 18 times with a gimbal, with handheld, with all the things that I had. And I think I overdid it, because I'm not used to shooting music videos. And this is the advice that I want to give you guys. Try and not rely on plays. Shoot like 3 or 4 plays and then just do slow motion shots, or think about a story, because if you have a story in your music videos, it would be great. Try and keep it minimal. Minimal is always better. Moving on, we changed the location. I had a really cool location in my mind that we managed to rent last minute, and it is a building with long hallways that looks amazing. On this one, I filmed mostly on a gimbal. We did some shots with her walking down the hallways and all that. I told her to move a little bit more freely and all that, but I don't think we used these shots too much. I think they look cool, but if you compare them with the one that we did lighting and the one that we used natural lighting here, it's a pretty big difference, and I didn't want to like ruin the high quality premium look. But we still use some of the shots because the location is very hard to rent and very hard to get access to, so that's why I used a few of the shots. Again, relying on the autofocus on the gimbal and doing some shots, beauty shots with her singing, then kissing and all that. And at some point I had this crazy idea. I saw like a piece of light coming through the window in a very cloudy day. It was just like a few seconds where the sun hit the indoors, and I had this idea to film her as the sun goes through. So to mimic the sun, I used my Nanlite Forza 60B with a projectile lens on top to shape the light as I want. So I managed to replicate the sun a little bit, but the reason I didn't use these shots was because I think the light was a little bit too harsh on her face, and I didn't want to make her look bad because I thought the lighting on her face was not pleasant enough, but I loved the idea. So moving on, I had another crazy idea that I thought it was pretty cool. So I was looking around thinking, what should I do? I was like searching for inspiration, and I saw a door that was like pulled off from its door place. And I said to myself, what if I use that door to create something interesting? So I put the door in the middle of the building, and I told them to look face to face through the door and just make them feel apart, because in the song it is about her liking him and him being a little bit distant, and then he comes back and he doesn't love her. It's a love story. So I thought it is great with the idea. I mean, it works great with the song and everything. And then they try to touch, even though they're close apart, they're actually very distant. So I thought it's a great idea and it works fine. So my Forza 60B being the light ray and being the sun in this case, and we put a little bit of haze inside the room, and everything looked top notch. And I love how these things go. Like, you go on a set and you don't have expectations, and you end up with ton of footage that looks amazing. It is crazy, honestly. I did a few more shots here, and then the sun came out just at the sunset. So I said, guys, let's go. Let's get the final shots, and let's try and be creative. So we went there, we had our generator with us, and we had our smoke machine, and we went crazy. I don't have enough behind the scenes from the sunset part, because whenever you film at sunset, you need all hands and every crew member in order to be fast, because the sun goes fast, really fast. The sun goes down really fast, but we had all our lights on batteries. This is one of the things that we do. And I had my mix panel 150 on V-mount batteries that was filling with red. This is crazy. So this light was filling an entire lake, an entire place with red. This light is so powerful, even on V-mounts. It is crazy. And it actually held for, I don't know, 1 hour and a half. It was amazing. So because I knew that I was going to shoot at ISO 12,800, I used my small Pava tube as a field light from up top. Again, I'm using top light, so I don't have lights in my line sight, in my camera angles or anything like that, so I can be as creative as possible. And I also used a Pava tube, a 15 one, that was feeling a little bit with red, helping the mix panel 150. And to be honest, it was crazy on how fast the light went down, but I think we got some pretty amazing shots from that scene. And to be honest, I know it doesn't have like the best idea ever, but the images that we managed to get out of this music video it's crazy. I mean, I hope you guys are on the same page. I'm also very excited to share this behind the scenes because I think it is pretty complex and pretty complete. And I think I went through a lot of things that were pretty important. And if you guys need or have any other questions regarding this music video, if you guys have other curiosities or anything like that, just type down the comments. I'll be responding them all, and I'm gonna try my best to be more, I don't know, complete next time I do this kind of behind the scenes. If you enjoyed it, guys, please follow me on Instagram too. Make sure to subscribe on this channel and stay tuned because I have more of these videos coming up. Peace.
Mergând pe străzi pustii, crezând că tu mă știi, ești tu sufletul și dragostea. Cum cade